Hey guys, it's Rachel. I am about to make homemade bread. It's the best recipe I have ever had and I love making it so much, so I'm really excited to share it with you. So I'm gonna get started here and show you all the ingredients that you need. I personally love to make homemade bread. It's really easy, not super time consuming, and absolutely delicious. So that's why I'm making this for you, because I want to share the goodness with you. Okay, so we're just gonna start off with 1.5 cups of warm water. And then we're going to add 1 packet of instant rise active dry yeast. This is what I use. And I really like it. I use it every single time and it turns out perfectly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add this into the warm water. Make sure it's not hot. It'll kill the yeast if it's too hot, therefore making your bread not rise. And make sure it's not too cold or else it won't activate it, and again, it will not rise. So there's that, add that to it, and then what you want to do is add, I use honey for my bread, and so it's so important to me that it's raw and that it's good, and I used honey. I like using a natural sugar instead of regular sugar. That's just me. A lot of people like to do it other ways as well, so that is just an option. And I'm just going to mix this up the best that I can. Just gonna whisk it until all the yeast is like combined, get it nice and activated, and then I'm gonna set it aside for about 5 minutes, and that's what it should look like. Before we let this sit, we have to also add our butter. So for this recipe, you need about 3 tablespoons. I would say that was about 3, right? And then I'm just gonna mix it up so it's nice and blended in there. All right, so now that it's sat a little bit, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt, and then I'm gonna add a couple cups of flour so that we can get going on this here, just until it's moistened. So I'm gonna add 1.5 cups. You'll probably need about 3 3/4 cups for this batch. So at this point, it's kind of useless to have this here. So I'm just gonna use a spatula now, and then eventually we won't need it at all anymore, and we will just be using our hands for this. That's what makes it such a fun process. So. It is not sticky anymore, and until the flour is nice and well mixed in. It's not sticky, but it's not too dry, so make sure you don't add too much flour to this because you don't want it to be too dry. And now for the fun part, we're just gonna knead it with our hands. This is really how I knead the dough usually, and like it ends up being really good. So you can knead the dough a lot of different ways, but this is how I do it. And then I just form it into a nice ball like so. And it's a nice ball like this. And I put it back in, and it looks like we're all set. And we're gonna leave it and let it rise for about 40 minutes. All right, hey everyone, I'm back. So we left it for about an hour, but you can pretty much leave it and let it rise for probably like between 30 minutes and an hour. So give me anywhere between there. It works out both ways. I just couldn't come back in time. So generally I like to make fast, efficient bread so that I'm not spending a long time on it or waiting for it for a long time. So I usually leave it for about 30 to 40 minutes, but this time I left it for an hour, and you know, the more time you leave it, sometimes the better. So you see how it rose a lot. So what we're going to do now is I am just going to put it in a bread pan. I'm gonna oil a bread pan, and then I'm gonna put it in there. Make sure you oil it or butter it or spray it so that the bread does not stick. But I usually just take oil and wipe it around the sides. And then I'm gonna shape the dough in the shape of the bread pan. And then I'm gonna let it sit just like it was again for another 40 minutes to an hour. And then once we do that, we'll be able to bake it. And we're back. So we got our risen bread. This is what it looks like. It looks beautiful. Look at how gorgeous this looks. We just appreciate this for a second. Like, wow. It rose quite a bit and I'm pretty happy about it. I'm preheating the oven right now to 350 degrees, so that's what you'll probably have to preheat it to as well if your oven's good. And then we're just gonna bake it for about 40 minutes and it'll come out nice and beautiful and brown and airy and absolutely delicious. This week, I'm going to use this bread for mostly toast in the mornings and then maybe for half a sandwich or a snack later in the day. It's just so good. And the sooner you use it, the better. And honestly, I think it's way better than buying store-bought bread. It's healthier for you. It has way less mamma jamma in it. So yeah. All right, folks, this is the finished product right here. It looks so good. Alright guys, so this is the finished product. I'm so excited about it. It looks absolutely amazing. It's so fluffy. If you let it sit for like 10 minutes after you take it out, it's perfect for cutting. And it is just absolutely delicious with rhubarb and strawberry jam or peanut butter and bananas on top. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and see you guys next time.